Well, I looked around and I said, well, instead of being drafted a year, I can enlist for foreign service and go 2 and come home with honorable discharge. And I looked at Panama and Hawaii and the Philippines. I said that Panama was hot, Philippines a long way away.
What happened at Pearl Harbor?
Hmm?
What happened at Pearl Harbor?
Now, the morning of December the 7th, I was a faithful church member, and I started church that morning. And it's 5 minutes of 8, church service is 8 o'clock. It's 5 minutes of 8, I was on my way to church. And I heard an explosion. The Air Force then had an airfield that joins Schofield Barracks. Schofield Barracks was a big base in the middle of the island, 16 miles from Pearl Harbor. And I looked down that way, and I saw this plane come up out of the dive, and I heard it. I saw him drop the second bomb, and he had stationary landing gear, which wheels hanging down, rigid here, and he banked over my barracks. And when he turned up that way, I could see that red dot on his wing, and I knew right then we were at war with Japan. And so I turned and went back to my barracks squadron, and we were field artillery. We had carried field artillery sidearm with a Colt 45 since 1911. But we were getting a new firearm, new sidearm. It's supposed to be a new carbine, but we didn't have any yet. That day we had, for 87 men, who had 4 Browning automatic rifles for anti-aircraft, 9 45s for the non-coms, and 6 Springfield rifles for 87 men. And they had to go that day, that night. We went to a place where we called our beach defense to defend the beach. We had the British 75 rifle, model 1918. That was our model 1918, British 75. And we went to our position to defend our beach. You don't go right on the beach, you back off enough that you're concealed, and then you put up camouflage nets and this and that, to conceal your guns. But we were right on the beach to defend the beach. Around the corner from Diamond Head, Wamanilla Bay, Canyon Bay and Wamanilla Bay on that side of the island. And that night they brought us in Springfield. We just had enough firearms for about 20 men out of 87. And we cleaned those firearms in the dark with a gallon of gasoline, and they'd been packed in that green jacquardine since 1920. And that's all we did that night was clean firearms. And as soon as you got it clean enough, you could put the revolver through the bore. They'd give you a belt, a bandolier of ammunition, and put you on guard. We had guards everywhere. And there was sugarcane fields on that side of the island. And I won't ever forget that. There was a little rat-like creature over there, a mongoose. And he ran around in the sugarcane fields and extracted. And them guys that night, I was just a little smarter than that. But he had run through that cane field. You're supposed to haul a hawk 3 times slowly, and then advance to be recognized. Then they'd haul a hawk 3 times, and they'd start shooting. They didn't waste no way. Didn't waste no answer. They'd start shooting. That mongoose. That was the longest night I ever spent in my life. Everybody everywhere was shooting. Everybody. Shooting the mongoose and anything else that moved. Wonder somebody had got killed. Well, we defended that beach. It got a little bit organized in a couple of weeks. And we found out then, it was 6 months before we got it overnight leave. The time I got to see Pearl Harbor, there wasn't nothing but the hulk sticking out of the water. The Japanese had concentrated on Pearl Harbor, and the ships were lined up, paired off in Pearl Harbor, and I'm sure every one of you seen pictures of it in the battleships. And the Japanese, we were very lucky that morning. We had 3 carriers out there, aircraft carriers, and they had gone to wait in Guam to ferry fighter planes to those bases, advanced bases. And they wanted to carry in Pearl Harbor. And when they hit Pearl Harbor, we had 6 battleships there. And that attack changed the war from a battleship war to a carrier war. The battleship didn't run with us anymore. They come out with the North Carolina, it was the old battleships would do about 12 or 15 knots. And the new one, the North Carolina, a brand new one, it had 16-inch guns instead of 12 and 15, and it would do 33 knots. So they upgraded the battleship to run with the fleet, run with the fast carriers. But you know, we would change that day, change the war from a battleship war to a carrier war. We stayed there in defense of the island of Hawaii. That was December 741. And we stayed there in defense for about 6 months of the island on their beach front. And then we were relieved, and we had never had any amphibious training. The amphibious, you know what that means? That means coming into the sea in a small boat and landing on the shore, enemy hostile shore. We had never had any of that, so they relieved us of duty, sent us to the beach. We left the artillery to somebody else and sent us to the beach to take those amphibious training. And we'd come ashore, those small boats that let the raft down. Anybody seen any pictures from World War II, you see those boats that run down and let that raft down. It carried 29 men or 4 tanks, called LCVP, Landing Craft Vehicle Personnel. And that's what you have. The big ships, Guadalcanal, there's no piers. We stayed in Hawaii to defend the island for about 11 months. They relieved us in time to go to the beach and take 30 days of amphibious training. And amphibious, you know what that means, coming in the old water.
I have some questions for you. Can I see if there's some questions? And if they're not, we'll go back to your talk. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Any of them have any questions?
He has
You
so
have to
much
relay them
to
to her, because I don't hear good.
Okay, and we'll relay them. I mean, he has lots more things about his experience. Actually, we're going to talk about amphibious landing today, perhaps if we get to Guadalcanal and the fight for the Solomons, the first big amphibious battle in the Pacific. So this is really kind of interesting background. But do you guys have any questions for Mr. Barrett? He's really happy to entertain anything that interests you. Yes.